Apple announces pluses on everything and more. Coming up on today's episode of the latest in tech news. Hey Gadgeteer, you're just in time for the latest episode of the world's only 3-in-1 show on tech, gadgets, and gaming news. That's right, this is the latest in tech news. My name is Taylor Merrick, and if you're new here, tap or click that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss a single episode. But before you do that, make sure that you enjoy the content first. See, the goal here is to make news or talk about news and gaming and gadgets and stuff that you like. So obviously, if you like it, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more. So if it doesn't, yell at your friend for a bad suggestion, but don't tell them that I told you to say that, and don't tell them that I sent you, because I've been blowing chunks the past couple of days. Okay, that's about as far as I'm gonna get. Apparently, the tweet I had sent out midweek last week, was my firstborn getting the flu for the very first time and everything that went along with it, and that wasn't fun at all. So that turned into me not being able to do the show like I had planned to do, and taking care of the sick baby and helping the wife and everything else. And then immediately the day following, both of us got sick, and it was one of those 24-hour flus where you just feel miserable for complete 24 hours. And then it was Saturday, and I'm like, boot you transistorized tormentor, if only there was somebody else, somebody from up above who could come down. Tim Cook, Steve Jobs, somebody do the show for me. Why encoding overload? You're barely even doing anything. Stupid encoder, my butt. I think I'm just going to be lazy today. I don't want to do anything. So I hope you guys had a good weekend. I know it's back to Monday, but we'll get through this week just fine. Got some news lined up for you today. And no, it's not all this Apple news. So let's dive right on in. Before we do, let's head on over to trivia. All right, last episode, I asked a question, and that was, what is the best-selling Call of Duty game? And the answers I got, well, I forgot to double check. So, excuse me while I check the stats really quick here. And, yes, log out, log me out, log back into... I'm supposed to log in. Okay. Nope. Just like I figured. I had to go to Twitter to make sure. Didn't get any answers, but the answer to the question I asked you guys is, what is the best-selling Call of Duty game, was Modern Warfare 3, released in 2011. That game's looking at 30.71 million units sold. Most successful in franchise history. No games even never come close. So, there you are. So, that was last time's trivia. We got trivia right now that you, if you're watching or listening right now, that you can partake in if you're one of the listeners tuning in from 65 countries from around the world. Yes, you can play. How can you play, you ask? Submit your answer on Twitter by replying to the tweet with the question for today's trivia. The link to this tweet will also be listed in our show notes for this episode. The first correct answer will be announced in the next episode along with your Twitter username. So if you want bragging rights, I'm planning on eventually doing a t-shirt giveaway. I haven't even designed a t-shirt or another giveaway item to go along with that weekly, seeing as whoever gets the most guesses right wins. I don't know. Let me know your suggestions. What would you like to win? What would you like to get? I don't know. At TechNewsGadget on Twitter is the best way to do that. The question I have for you guys, if you're ready, is, why are LCD screens so flat? Post your answers now on Twitter. We'll tune in next episode to find out who the winner is. Could be you. Moving on. All right, before we can head into today's tech news, we always have to take a look back at today in tech history, being that today is March 25th, 2019. On this day in history, in 1996, the movie Twister becomes the first featured film put on DVDs. So if you guys were like, hey, DVD's not going to go anywhere, man, Betamax all the way. Well, Twister was the first one on DVD, and then it went, hey guys, check it out. I sound really good in surround sound, right? You can't get that on Betamax, can you? Stupid stereo speakers. Anyways, also on this day in history, in 1992, Excel 4.0 spreadsheet software was released. Microsoft Corporation releases its Excel spreadsheet program. Excel was one in a long line of practical applications that Microsoft and other companies developed for personal computers, making them more appealing to home and office users. The earliest commercialized computerized spreadsheet was VisiCalc, written by Ed Frankston and Dan Bricklin, and released for the Apple II personal computer in 1979. So from 1979 to 1992, thank goodness we finally got a good piece of spreadsheet software. Because I think we would have flipped our lid if we had to do any more with that. So, with that out of the way, let's head on over to today's tech news. Okay, well, Apple had an event today. I know some news outlets published it and posted that it wasn't going to be live until Tuesday. I'm not going to say who it was, but if you guys could get your reporting right, that'd be great. But Apple had a great event today. It spent like 2 hours talking about stuff, I believe. And I was impressed by some stuff, fascinated by maybe one thing, and not interested in maybe another thing. But let's get into that. What were you guys looking forward to? Let me know in the comments or on Twitter at TechNewsGadget. By the way, show notes for everything we talk about today can be found by going to technewsgadget.net/92. You get all the show notes there. And if you're listening on the podcast app of your choice, all you should be able to do is swipe up, down, left, right, however you get more details. And you should be able to click on the article link there of your choice and have it load up, voila, in your smartphone. The wonder of technology. So, Apple, first off, announced 3 new subscription services, including a TV service, gaming bundle, and an all-you-can-read magazine subscription on Monday at its campus in Cupertino, California. Apple also announced an Apple-branded credit card in partnership with Goldman Sachs. Apple stock was down almost 2% during intraday trading on Monday after the event, so as you can tell, if you're interested in all this stock trading goodness, it was kind of mediocre. Didn't really care, didn't do anything. The iPhone giant is focusing on subscription services at a critical time for the company as it searches for new areas of revenue growth to compensate for stalling iPhone sales. We've also been creating a growing collection of world-class services, and that's what today is all about, Apple CEO Tim Cook said today. Investors and analysts say that Apple's service business, which includes revenue from the App Store and licensing fees in addition to monthly subscriptions, is going to drive the majority of revenue growth over the next few years. No, you think? Oh, I'm so glad we got a whole... Okay, so first thing they announced was a new service for streaming online video called Apple TV Plus. That's the first plus I want you guys to make a note of. Apple's new TV app will soon enable users to subscribe to individual streaming services such as HBO Go, Stars, and watch shows or sports through Apple's TV app, a feature called Apple TV's Channels, which will launch in May. When users subscribe to a channel, they are able to browse all the shows made by that channel inside of Apple's TV app, instead of in the service's individual app. Kind of one of the reasons why Netflix isn't in it. Channels confirmed by Apple include HBO, Showtime, Stars, CBS All Access, and Smithsonian Channel. Apple did not announce pricing for any channel. I'm wondering, is Disney going to be part of this? Are they going to be like, no, Disney Go Plus streaming online service, video library, archive, vault access, dude? We'll find out. Apple TV Plus, a separate service, will include original video content produced by Apple. Apple has been associated with 34 different TV and movie productions, according to a tally from Goldman Sachs, not to say they also invested about $1 billion in original content. So something good hopefully comes out of it. The second half of Apple's launch event on Monday included a long series of Hollywood celebrities attached to Apple productions, including Steven Spielberg, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell, Oprah Winfrey, and Jennifer Aniston discussing their upcoming shows. Apparently, Oprah Winfrey is debuting a book club of sorts, so we'll see what comes out of that. Apple's original content will be available to consumers in the fall. It's a subscription service, which suggests a monthly fee, but Apple did not mention a price. Obviously, the one big question we were wondering about this whole entire time, they just teased it and didn't go any further with it. The Apple TV app is compatible with iPhones, iPads, and Apple TV set-top boxes. Support for Mac computers is due in the fall, according to Apple, and the new service launches in May. Apple also said that people with select TVs from Samsung, Sony, LG, and Vizio, as well as set-top boxes from Roku and Amazon, will be able to download an Apple TV app. So that was kind of interesting. Then they came out with a news package. They announced a new paid tier of the Apple News app called Apple News Plus that includes magazine content for $9.99 a month in the US and $12.99 per month in Canada. Some banner features in the new paid tier include layouts specifically designed for a phone, including covers that subtly move, as well as other design and layout features. Users can access full, current, and past issues, but it only seems like some select magazines are in them, not all of them. So essentially you're getting like a bundle of magazines. Probably, it sounds to me like a bunch of cable channels just smashed together because they all look good. Here's a couple: Wired, Popular Science, National Geographic, and Essence. Apple News Plus also includes access to LA Times and Wall Street Journal content. Apple said that the subscription includes over 300 magazines. One of the service's new selling points is privacy. Apple said that it won't let advertisers track its Apple News Plus users. Apple is offering a month-long free trial to the service, which will become available to Apple users in May. Pricing soon to come as well. This one, as you can tell, Apple News Plus, not quite too interested in that, because I'm mainly wondering, it's like, okay, so if I'm thinking as from a business standpoint, from a publisher standpoint, from like, if I was going to be Popular Science, say, for example, what am I getting? Exposure. What am I getting kickback from? I don't know. I mean, am I going to make any part of that $9.99 a month that the users are paying for it? Is it based on usage? So, like, if they happen to read my magazine or news subscription or newspaper more often, do I get more of that cut of that $10 a month? And I don't know, kind of confusing, but good for users, I guess. What do you think? I don't know. I thought this one was a flop. Oh, look at it. We'll just add a plus on this one too. Apple News Plus. Oh, gosh. And then they announced the titanium credit card. Apple also said on Monday it would release its own credit card called Apple Card. The physical card itself is made out of titanium. We saw an opportunity to transform another fundamental form of payment, and that's the credit card. The Apple Card will show how much users have spent and when payment is due inside the iPhone's Wallet app. The app will track spending by category and will provide a more detailed version of transaction history that integrates with Apple Maps. The card also has several reward incentives, which Apple calls daily cash. And by daily cash, it means you go out and you purchase something and you get a kickback in the format of daily cash, and that's cash that you can actually use. It's not a point, it's not a gimmick system, it's not some weird perk thing. It's actual cash that you can take and transfer to a friend, transfer to your bank account, use it to pay off something, roll it into something else immediately, like daily cash. So Apple said that customer service, such as changing an address, would be handled through a text message bot. Our goal with the Apple Card is to provide each customer with an interest rate which is the lowest in the industry. Apple said the card did not have late fees or annual fees, although obviously they're probably going to incentivize you if you don't want to pay interest. Pay this recommended amount. You can. There's like this little weird circular clicker sidebar thing that you can use. They have a video out on it, so you can see how that all works. So the Apple Card uses the MasterCard network and is operated by Goldman Sachs. Neither Apple nor Goldman Sachs will use personal data for advertising. And then this bundle came out that I thought was quite interesting, and I'm interested in, was the Apple Arcade. Apple also announced a new bundle of video games called Apple Arcade. A single subscription will provide access to more than 100 games, all of which are exclusive to Apple devices. New games will be added regularly, and Apple games will be available to play without an internet connection after they are downloaded. The gaming bundle will be available to customers this fall, Apple said. Games include new titles from companies including Konami, Cartoon Network, Sega, and Lego. The Lego game actually looked interesting. It's like Lego Battle something. You can battle with other people. So it'll also include indie titles from creators including Will Wright, the inventor of SimCity. Apple also did not reveal a price for its gaming bundle. So essentially just plussed everything else up a bit. Kind of a downer for the news, but interesting for the Apple Arcade. What do you guys think? Were you excited by this or not so much? You all still interested in Stadia? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Let's head on over to the rest of the tech news, shall we? All right, so this is news that you're not going to really find much, mainly because everybody everywhere, all they're talking about is the Apple event and how Apple really only gave a limited amount of information, and everybody's like, oh, what's going on? And keep the rumor mill grinding for weeks, if not a month or two. But apparently a global aluminum plant was hit by a malware attack. As manufacturing companies become increasingly dependent on bringing operations and processes online, they open themselves up to even greater threats from cyberspace. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're like, well, why don't they just get a really good, networking cybersecurity guide, and then they won't have to worry about, hackers and stuff? Well, Hydra, one of the world's biggest producers of aluminum, has announced that it has switched to manual operations at its Norwegian smelting facilities amid an ongoing cyber attack. Now, while information into the nature and damage of the attack is so far scant, Hydra says the attack began on Monday and is ongoing. Norway's National Cybersecurity Center believes the malware responsible is LOTR ransomware combined with an ongoing Active Directory attack. Hydra has yet to confirm this, while the cybersecurity agency has requested information regarding other attacks from its partners. The description of the attack from Norsert so far sounds like the attackers manually deployed the malware after gaining access to the networks. Boy, commented AT&T cybersecurity researcher Chris Doman. Doman said that the takedown of a number of different geographic locations is reminiscent to the kind of damage seen in incidents like NotPetya. Following the discovery of the attack, Hydra has announced on Facebook that it has isolated all plants and operations and is switching to manual operations and procedures as far as possible. The firm says its main priority is to continue to ensure safe operations and limit operational and financial impact, but stresses the attack has not led to any safety-related incidents. The group, which employs 40,000 staff in 40 countries, has also urged employees in certain areas of the company not to turn on their computers or connect to the network. So it's interesting. LOTR was first brought into the public eye in January after an attack on a French engineering consulting firm, Altran. It was reported then that the malware used brand new code which couldn't be detected by a robust firewall and data security solutions. So see, you could have the greatest security guy ever, but removal of the malware allegedly requires a tailored solution. Following the Altran attack, data security experts uploaded a ransom claim that was promoted in an attack with the same virus earlier this year. If you don't know what ransomware is, it essentially hijacks your entire computer, and then it says, if you don't pay us money, we're going to blow up your computer or crash your network and destroy all your data and all that stuff. So it just sits there and it goes, okay. So yeah, be careful on the links that you click and the people that you trust with important aspects of your network and company and computers and who has access to what, where, when, why, and how. It's kind of why we have IT groups and firms and people dedicated to all of this kind of stuff. But this is always an ongoing problem, but now it's moving on to more manufacturing things. So hopefully they're able to get a hold of this soon. Given that they're shutting down operations at some of their plants implies those plants had control system access from the internet or from computers connected to the internet, said Tim Mackey, senior technical evangelist at Synopsys. Minimally, this attack provides a lesson in the value of both network segmentation and ensuring that threat models are created, assuming the threat comes from an internal source. So right now we're missing a lot of information on this attack. The things we don't know outweigh the things we do, and that generally means there will be a lot of speculation. This is another reminder to spend the time and money on preparation and prevention. If you're an executive at any business, ask yourself, what would your organization be doing right now if you were Hydra? So keep that in mind. Speaking of more hacking brief, apparently you might have to check your computer if you have any ASUS update malware. Today's news that hackers put backdoors into thousands of ASUS computers using the company's own software update platform is a reminder of why supply chain compromises are one of the scariest digital attacks out there. Attackers apparently compromised ASUS's live update tool to distribute malware to almost 1 million customers last year, mainly ASUS computers. According to initial findings, research at the Kaspersky Lab disclosed today. The news was first reported by Motherboard. ASUS machines accepted the tainted software because the attackers were able to sign in with a real ASUS certificate used to verify the legitimacy and trustworthiness of new code. Though the scope of the attack is broad, the hackers seem to have been seeking out a select 600 computers to target more deeply in a second stage attack. Kaspersky calls the attack Shadow Hammer, indicating a possible link to ShadowPad malware used in some other major software supply chain attacks. The hackers took a real ASUS update from 2015 and slowly modified it before pushing it out to ASUS customers sometime in the second half of 2018. Kaspersky discovered the attack on ASUS in January and disclosed it to the company on January 31st. ASUS has not notified its customers about the situation since then and did not return a request from Wired for comment. Kaspersky says its researchers met with ASUS a few times, and the company seems to be in process of investigating the incident, cleaning up a system, and establishing new defenses. So for now, Kaspersky says it doesn't have a full picture of what the attackers are doing on the specifically targeted machines, but they apparently have created a downloadable tool and an online portal that you can use to check whether your device's MAC addresses were on the target list. Hopefully you'll be able to figure out what's going on if you do have an ASUS computer and what you need to do going forward for fixing it. Today seems to be interesting. All about Apple adding pluses on everything and stuff getting hacked. Can we get on to some better news? Here, press the button. Oh, good. Nintendo has plans for 2 new Switch models. One will sport enhanced features while the other will be a cheaper option. So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Nintendo is readying 2 new Switch models, following up on its earlier reporting from the topic last year. While that earlier report just suggested a new model with perhaps a new screen, today's report specifies a 2-pronged approach. One model will sport enhanced features for the core gaming audience, while the other will be a cheaper option, which Nintendo sees as the successor to the now 8-year-old 3DS handheld. E3 in June is a likely opportunity to announce the models, with one source telling the Journal they could be possibly released a few months later. With Sony bowing out of the show this year, and Microsoft widely expected to begin unveiling its next-gen strategy, including xCloud, it will be an opportune time to focus on what's next for Switch. Now, while it's unclear what kind of enhanced features a higher-end model will contain, the Journal reports that Nintendo will cut features from the current Switch model to create the new, cheaper option. The company judged the new Switch models won't need the vibration feature because there won't be many games released using the full benefit. Now, the lack of vibration suggests a console without removable Joy-Con controllers, fitting the strategy of a 3DS deployment. It's been a relatively smooth 2 years with a consistent Nintendo Switch offering, but for anyone following Nintendo's decades-old handheld strategy, it stands to reason that things are about to get weird. Quick, press the button. Alright, moving on to some gaming news. I had to get past all that stuff just to get to the good stuff. There is a new Lord of the Rings game coming out that is all about Gollum. Yep, nope, you got it wrong. You didn't even guess it right. Okay, don't just read the title before I finish reading it. And if you're listening, what are you doing guessing what I'm doing? You just let me say it, okay? Gosh. Daedalic today announced a new game called Lord of the Rings Gollum, which is notable for the fact that it's A, all about Gollum, who apparently, according to this author, who sucks, and B, it's another attempt at a Lord of the Rings game without the fabled film license. Back around the time of the main trilogy's release, and for a few years afterwards, EA had the Lord of the Rings license, but only for the story's depiction in Peter Jackson's films. There is a separate license for the books, which meant that alongside the excellent movie tie-ins and Battle for Middle-earth games, we got stuff like The Hobbit, and the dodgy RTS, The Lord of the Rings, War of the Ring. I guess he didn't like that. That division continues today. WB has the rights to the films despite barely using them. The Mordor games might as well be original IP by this point, and other companies are free to license the books. Enter German developers and publishers Daedalic, which means this Gollum game won't feature Andy Serkis or even an Andy Serkis alike, and this take on Middle-earth, like that found in The Lord of the Rings Online, won't feature the same visual landmarks we identify from Jackson's films. But whatever, it should be interesting because it's got you literally playing as Gollum, slinking around in the shadows, though whether you be shanking dudes or just eating fish, not sure quite yet. You could just be dancing around the ring or losing the ring and having to find it. But what we do know, thanks to this interview with PC Gamer, is that the game will be set before we learn about what happens to him in the books, and that his split personality will play a part in how you play. You'll come to decisions you have to make, and you'll have the two voices talking to you. He may change his mind, and this is a clue about how it will play out. According to the CEO, Karsten Fichtman, the game will be out in 2021, which explains, well, there's not even a screenshot yet. All we have is this image right here with Gollum. That's it. Let's move on, shall we? And a final article for today to wrap everything else up nicely for gaming and news in general. Dr. Disrespect provides his initial verdict on Battlefield 5's Firestorm Battle Royale. FPS fans have been eagerly anticipating the launch of a Battle Royale from the legendary Battlefield franchise. After numerous leaks and announcements for Firestorms, players are finally filling the servers of the game. After getting in a couple hours of Firestorm, the doc was surprised with how much fun he had. Wait, am I reading the wrong article? How much fun he was having despite numerous red flags prior to the game's release. Not to say that the game didn't suck in some aspects more than others. According to the doc, he said he was very apprehensive with his belief that it could be a fun experience. Lots of red flags before I even played it. Now that I'm playing it, though, I'm actually having a good time. Though the doc didn't go into specifics about the red flags were, he had previously shared his concerns about the slow pacing that initial videos of Firestorm seem to show. Battle Royales are exciting, but various elements can contribute to a game's sense of stale or unrewarding experiences. Aspects like underwhelming fights, too large or small a player count, and disproportionate size of a map in relation to the number of contestants could all factor into a diminishing playthrough. For the time being, it seems like Dr. Disrespect is liking what Firestorm is bringing to the table and gave it high praise, comparing it to an optimized PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Oh, great. So I guess the standard to judge everything by with Battle Royale is PlayerUnknown PUBG. It's kind of intense, to be honest with you, Dr. Disrespect said. The fights feel intense, the looting is wonky, but I like the design. The pacing of the game, and what TSM Vises was saying, it feels like PUBG, but more of a AAA optimized Battlegrounds. With a big studio and even bigger publishing backing Firestorm's lifecycle, the initial thoughts are encouraging to hear, since early feedback for the game could make it even better. But that's just Dr. Disrespect for you. We'll have to see how that goes with Shroud and see if he blows up on a grenade or doesn't do anything. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, if you're all excited about this one. Apparently, it seems like they finally did some justice. For as much as the initial release sucked and they kept having to patch all this stuff, and then they finally announced, put stuff back in. Hopefully they didn't lose the player base and people are still interested in playing the game. Okay, I should probably wrap up before I actually lose it, right? Oop, wrong button. I got you guys. Well, that wraps up this episode of the latest in tech news. My bad, I pressed the wrong button. Thanks for tuning in, guys. New episodes every weekday, and now that I'm done being sick, the wife is done being sick, and my daughter's not blowing chunks, we should be back to weekday episodes. The latest in tech news is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, and everywhere else podcasts are heard. By the way, if we missed something on a show that you wanted to hear about, let us know on our Twitter and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and double check that you are subscribed. Just click that subscribe button so that you don't miss the next episode. I'm your host, Taylor Merrick, and remember, for the latest in tech, gadget, and gaming news, visit TechNewsGadget.net. Pretty much, keep being awesome, guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.